Alright everyone, really quick video. So, Lurrus has been banned by surprise from Modern and Pioneer. Okay, like, basically, if you're here, you're not here for, like, main, like, discussions, you're thinking, what about harness skills? And I think harness skills will be fine. I was thinking about it, and basically last weekend I played 6 rounds of a tournament, I put Lurrus in my hand twice, I casted it once. Did he win me the game that I casted on? Yes. Would I won the game regardless? Maybe. So, obviously, it's a nerf to the deck, but it's also a nerf to a lot of other decks, which maybe are even better Lurrus decks. I'm thinking especially this is the Shadow. I'm especially thinking about the decks like Red Black Midrange and to some extent Hammer Time. Even though I would say actually Lurrus was probably better in Hammer Time than it is in our deck because they had a bit more ramp. They were like they had less ways to spend their mana than skills. So overall, probably a great thing for the format. So I'm very happy about it. And the thing that everybody thinks is like, okay, Mr. Say what the skills are gonna look like now. I'm gonna show you my first iteration, my first idea of what I think that would be a cool way to go. Is now, you know, we're not capped at the CMC 3 plus, like a 2 minus CMC, but still, I mean, definitely there is some tension there because you still want to keep your curve as low as possible. So one thing that everybody thinks is like, oh, now that Lurrus is banned, now I'll get to play my Liliana of the Veil. Now I'm gonna get to play my, I don't know, whatever, you know, card you think about, Scrap Jericho Miner. But no, the reason is for that is not Lurrus. The reason that you don't see those cards played, I'm just gonna show you here right now. Like, this is the spoiler from Modern Horizons 1. And it's something like I talked before, but I mean, if you look at this, what is the main thing? Okay, you have legendary creatures that are 4 CMC, or planeswalkers that are 4 CMC. Very strong, obviously. It's very hard to justify playing any other 4-drop than any of these two. Obviously, Serra nobody plays. And Season Pyromancer is a 3 mana play. Hexdrink is a 1 mana play, but really is a shitty 1 mana play. You need to really spend 3 more mana to make it a 4-4. Ranger is a 3 mana play. Echo Vions, I mean 6 mana, and you can flashback it obviously. Call Therapy is not very good. Flame 3 mana, 3 mana. This is free spells, but the only spell of this cycle that is totally busted is Force of Vigor. The Force of Negation is still either a 1-for-1 or a card negative card. Whereas Force of Vigor is just removal on and it's a 2-for-1. You know, start looking. Orange Storm, 3 mana. Dead of Winter, 3 mana. Your Runes, one of the few 1-drops on the set. Yeah, 1 mana, but not an aggressive 1-drop. Yeah, you have Fluster Storm, you know. Like, if you look, the Plague Engineer, 3 mana. This is kind of the thing, right? The theme with the deck. Like with this, and there's of course Archon's Astrolabe and Hovek that were Riders banned because they didn't cost any mana. But most of the cards here, they're costing quite a lot of mana. Right? Now if we go down to Modern Horizons 2, just need to look. 0 mana. And the thing is with 0 mana is like, oh, but Forces are also 0 mana. Your Forces are only 0 mana reactively in your opponent's turn normally. And so you cannot use them proactively on your turn. And they're normally not 2-for-1s, whereas all of these cards, except for the Vigor, as I said, all of these cards are more or less a 2-for-1 when they enter the battlefield without being evoked. So they are late game a 2-for-1. Early game, they are just free removal, free Ether Gas, free discard, free Pyroclinesis, what the fuck, and Endurance. So yeah, these cards are free, and that's what makes them great. Then you go down here, targets 4 Reanimator, so this card should never get to cast for the cost. 2 mana, 1 mana, 3 mana, this card doesn't see any play, this card doesn't see any play, this card doesn't see any play. 2 mana, this barely sees any play, but you can see, right, you can see the concept. 2 mana, 1 mana, like, cards in Modern Horizons 2. 2 mana, 2 mana, 2 mana, 2 mana, 2 mana. 1 mana here on Novel Hierarch, 1 mana on Esposante, 1 mana on Suspend, 2 mana on Persist. You can see that the theme is much lower mana cost for very strong effects, and that's the thing. When you have a strong card at 1 mana, like Esposante, you really need even a card is stronger at 2 mana than Esposante is at 1 mana. You really need a huge justification to play it over Esper Sentinel, because Esper Sentinel you can play on turn 1, obviously you get effect already. You can play it again on turn 2, that's still pretty good, and you can play it on turn 3 with another 2-drop. Right, so it fills your curve much better. It fills up in every step of the curve. You can always go 2 1-drops on turn 2. You can always go a 2-drop and a 1-drop on turn 3 in general. So that's the thing. A card needs to be so much better for it to overcome like these super low CMCs, even Obsidian Chorma. So 2 mana card, Ragavan, you know. So that is the reason you're not seeing Liliana to the Veil. That's the reason you're not seeing any of the 2015 modern cards. Is that the cards are just costing way too much mana for what they're doing, and now we have cards that are like either free or like very, very low mana cost that produce insane advantages without having to, like, Liliana of the Veil is really, at face value, it's not that great. You can make it work, but it's not card advantage. The only card advantage it has is the Edic effect, and obviously can take over the game, but the ultimate is not really even like that game winning. I've won games where my opponent has ultimated Liliana, right? So, I don't know. Especially, of course, there was also a Saga printed recently. But yeah, let's go into the scales. So this is not going to be easy at all. So I have some ideas, of course. I wanted to try... I mean, I don't know if this is good at all, but we'll see. There you go. So the idea is, of course, the ban Lurrus. So the main thing we're worried about now is flooding, right? We used to not flood because we have like so many ways to spend our mana. And then we had so many ways, we always had Lurrus. Like when those ways were over, we still had Lurrus, right? So I think now the eternal suggestion of Twitch chat has always been Horizon Canopy. I don't love Horizon Canopy. I still think if this is your first land into play, it will kill you. That's not going to be fun. And so my first inclination is just to cut a land. Simple as that. Just cut the land. I think a lot of people are thinking, oh, should I add animation modules? Should I add more grindy cards to my main deck or my sideboard? And that could be an option. But what happens is that you don't want too many of those cards. The strength of Lurrus is that they allow you to grind without having to put all those cards in your deck. But now, if you put those cards in the deck and you draw them early, you're kind of bad, right? So I prefer to just cut down on one land. I have 23 lands on my deck now. Basically the same lands, I just cut the drum. And I also cut all the Spires of Industry because I found that they were super awkward this weekend, and I cut them for like 2 Needleverse Pathways and 1 Branch Loft Pathway. So that allows me to cast my Scales and cast my Esper Sentinels. And one card I've been really meaning to try recently, which I think works really well with this kind of Taxes plan B of Welding Jar, Esper Sentinel, Patchwork Automaton, is Blacksmith Skills. Blacksmith Skill is hexproof and indestructible to a permanent, and I think that's a good thing when your opponents are going to be destroying your stuff. Obviously, interesting is also very good, but you need to make choices. And I'm just thinking, like many times this weekend, my opponents will go like turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, and they will finally get the mana to like get rid of my Patchwork Automaton just before it took over the game. Imagine at that point you actually Blacksmith Skill it. You'll probably just win the game on the spot, right? So that's why I want to try this card. Makes the game even harder to play for opponent. And when we're already playing so many threats, the Blacksmith Skill is really good. I also even wanted to play 1 Archon Worker. I just was sometimes feeling I was relatively light on artifacts to trigger my Patchwork. I mean, I have a lot of artifacts, obviously. But sometimes you're just like, man, if I only had another 1-drop that was not Zavas that I could just cast and trigger my Patchwork Automaton, that'd be great. Probably the best way for what will be, these 3 cards will be Ancient Stirrings. And we'll just play 23 lines. That's my idea. But I want to try these differences. And of course, now we have like our sideboard opens up a lot. So the main changes I added is like I added 1 March. March was very impressive this weekend. I want to try 1 Gem Razor again, see if it's good. I just like to play a variety of cards. And I think the spicy card that I think nobody's really playing or thinking about is the Wandering Emperor. A lot of people are talking about the Karn Sign of Urza. The problem with Karn Sign of Urza is it's a 4-mana sorcery. And 4-mana sorceries, they're not great. Just simply not great. The Wandering Emperor has flash, so you can actually... It's much better than a 4-mana sorcery because let's say you can just pass with your 4-mana up. Nobody will see the Wandering Emperor happening. Then they will tap out on their turn, or they will attack you. You cast Wandering Emperor. It's removal, so it's much more like you can use it as removal. And then you can use it to put counters on your creatures every turn, which is not the worst. And you can make Samurais and suppress your Planeswalkers, for example, and basically give you first strike to your creatures. But, basically, +1 in enough turn, +1 counter, your turn, +1 counter is a pretty strong line. They'll give you maybe 4 counters if you have skills, and I think this guy is pretty powerful, and I'm excited to try these skills now that Lurrus is banned. Same with Gem Razor, getting a bit more like grindy options in the sideboard because it will be, grindy matches, especially I'm expecting Blue-White Control to pick up. Blue-White Control obviously was very good against Lurrus decks, but I think now Blue-White Control, you know, it can become a hard matchup. You know, they have March of the World Light, Prismatic Ending, Solitude. They have the Wandering Emperor, so they really have a variety of answers, and the Spreading Seas, all that. So I think now Blue Eye Control may become a little bit worse of a matchup. So that's why I'm also like trying to see if I can play out these Blacksmith skills to see basically can this card really pull the weight and be relevant on the matchup. So that is what I will be trying. I'll let you know how it works. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I will not edit this video at all, just post it right now. And yeah, if you like the content, follow me on Twitch, follow me on YouTube. And yeah, until next time, Lurrus is banned. Now I can only wait for Yorion to get banned because fuck man, that card is also annoying. Bye.